Hi, welcome back. 3 things I've learned after quitting videography. Again, just kind of speaking my mind, getting it off my chest, so on and so forth. Number 1, transferable skills. This is a term that didn't mean anything to me, and even listening to it now, I don't know, I think it's a funny phrase, kind of corny, kind of cheesy, but it's a real thing. Skills that can be transferred from industry to industry, from position to position, just different jobs, right? Skills that you can carry with you from the videography profession or whatever profession you are within that industry into something else. In my case, I pivoted into higher education, and I'm finding that a lot of the skills that I possess or have are very transferable. And because they're transferable, I've realized that I have a lot more value, I guess, in my skill set than I had previously thought. Because a lot of people, I guess, initially, even the videographers themselves, they just boil down their profession into a guy running around with a camera, taking cool shots, and blah, blah, blah. But if you've ever been in conflict about pricing, let's say, for example, or the value of your services and your product with a client, then obviously you know that you begin to realize exactly how much work goes into a project. So for me, in my case, and the kind of background that I have, I guess, in videography was largely centered around being able to deal with craziness. I don't know what to call it. Eloquence is definitely not one of my transferable skills from videography. Not being caught off guard, I guess, when things go south, when things go wrong, because I really cannot recall many shoots where everything went smooth and flawless, because something will always happen on the day of the shoot, something that we could not plan for, and you have to navigate, do some last minute quick thinking on your feet, and then figure out how to get through the day, how to capture the product, and so on and so forth. And I don't know if I had the skill before videography, but I do know that it wasn't as developed because there were some key moments in my career with videography where that was really put to the challenge, and I had to really be creative and resourceful, adaptable, that's the word, no matter what situation, no matter what happens. So in my role right now, I work with accessibility services, so I'm working with students with disabilities, and I'm finding that you want to be mindful of your own anxiety levels, I guess, or like how the perception of how you are feeling, the presentation of your emotions, trying to be a little bit tactful about what you show, what you don't show. And that has nothing to do with being authentic or fake or whatever, blah, blah. It's just, if a person is already a little bit elevated, a little bit upset, then you being upset, you being anxious, probably doesn't help the situation, right? So I do think that inevitably it will bleed out, obviously, but you do your best to minimize that and to exude a sense of calm and being relatively collected, I guess. Because on a shoot day, when things go wrong, panicking doesn't do much to get through the day, right? You need to quickly assess what the situation is, what the problem is, why that problem happened isn't really important in that moment. It's just, there was a problem, how can we get through this? Let's find the way. Transferable skill. The other thing I'm finding too is that videography put me in front of a very wide net of personalities and communication languages, if that makes sense. Like, people communicate differently, almost to the extent where they might as well be speaking a different language, right? And obviously that might even bleed into the actual word choice that people use, their vocabs. Point being is that I think people who have only been exposed to one industry there is the likelihood that they haven't come across as diverse a population as somebody like me from videography. Of course, if you niche down with your videography, maybe this isn't the case. Like, if you do only weddings in a certain demographic, you have a very clear target audience, maybe this won't be one of your transferable skills. But for me, my career led me to a whole bunch of different genres and videos, which led me to interact with a lot of different types of personalities and people, which I thoroughly enjoyed and really gained a lot of just insight into life and into social dynamics, into cultures through my career that now I can bring with me into this new job, and so on and so forth. So yeah, a lot of transferable skills, and I think it's worth thinking about that, even if you're not considering a job change. Obviously, I think I'm saying this because it's more relevant to people who might be in the same position as I was, where you're really playing with the notion of quitting videography and switching careers, exploring new opportunities, maybe a really cool opportunity popped up and you're considering, like, should I put my camera down for a little bit? Should I try this, test the waters? Maybe there's a business opportunity or a new job, like so on and so forth, right? So in those situations, I think it's very important to take inventory of your skills that you carry with you, and then you can really begin to build up value for yourself when you are pitching yourself to whatever position that you're applying for. And even if you're not in that position, if you're just going to stick with videography and you're perfectly happy, taking stock of what you have to offer, in this case skills, I think can be used to pitch a project to a client too. There might be 50 other videographers lined up, but if you have a very strong understanding of what skills you bring to the table and why you can excel with this project, then obviously that will help. Another thing I've noticed in the videography industry is a lot of people feel like imposter syndrome, or they feel like they're not good enough, and there's like this weird, I guess maybe because you're so inundated with social media, you're so deep into Instagram and now TikTok and just whatever platform there is, that you do a lot of comparisons between yourself and another person, and then like your whole self-image and self-esteem is just kind of weird, to say the least. I would assume that taking inventory of your skill sets, seeing what you have to offer, will only benefit you in the long run. Obviously, that can be a whole different topic, because I don't think you need to build your confidence and self-worth around these tangible little like list items. But if that helps you, why not do it? And then eventually, hopefully, you get to a place where that doesn't really matter. Like, you can have zero skills, but still feel self-worth. But again, different topic, different day. Which actually kind of leads into the second thing that I've learned since quitting videography, is that my mental health is so tied to the camera. And I don't quite know where to start with this topic, but basically, as soon as I made my mind up to quit videography and focus on this new career, I realized that my mental health was suffering. And now, after some reflection, I've identified it as a lack of creativity in the hours outside of work. Because no matter, like, my job lets me be creative, and I really enjoy that aspect of it, but it's not the same as being creative outside of work, when it's like your time, your schedule, and you have all this freedom to be creative. But then in my case, I had no idea what to shoot. I had zero inspiration. My girlfriend is in Korea until next year. So the things that I usually like to capture, because I'm all about capturing memories with my camera and, I don't know, things that are meaningful to me, I realize there's not a lot of meaningful things that I want to go out and like feel compelled to capture, which leads to a lack of shooting, which leads to a lack of use of my gear. I guess the main thing is actually quitting videography has shown me that you really need a reason to go and shoot and use your cameras, because when I'm doing gigs, I have to, obviously I'm going to use my equipment, and then I have the excuse of, oh, I'm tired after this shoot, or I'm creatively burnt after this shoot, so that's why I'm not shooting anything. Now I'm really forced to realize and look in the mirror and say, I have a lot of time and I still have not used that time to go shoot and to be creative. So what's missing? Why? And the third thing is kind of a troll thing, but also kind of tied to that second thing of the whole mental health relationship with shooting. It's very reminiscent of people who shoot on Fujifilm or Leica, like photography. They always say that they feel inspired by the camera to go shoot. And I think everybody's felt that before, especially when you have a new shiny camera. You really just want to go shoot whatever with it. You can shoot leaves, you can shoot your wall, and it's all fun, it's all great. For me, that camera was the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. If you've been a follower of this channel, you know how much I love that camera. The image out of that thing is still bonkers to me, and I look back on my old videos and I really missed that feeling, that phase. I distinctly, vividly remember that phase of how I felt about video, my relationship with my camera, my relationship with the subjects I was shooting, because that camera I picked up knowing full well that it's not very well equipped for the type of run and gun shooting gigs that I do. And that was my first attempt at quitting videography, actually. So my friends always made fun of me saying that, oh, you always say that you're going to quit videography. But anyways, that was the beginning of my journey of trying to quit. And that camera, just something about it, it just really spoke to me. It really made me, I don't know. I really don't know what it is. All I know is that video podcast thing that I had going on at the time brought me so much joy, and I can look back on those videos, and even if they're not perfect videos, they make me feel joy. They really, I don't know, they remind me of a time in my life where I've was really rediscovering myself. Actually, that's what it is. Those videos captured that journey of me turning away from kind of this capitalistic mindset that is so ingrained in social media and videography, and it was that step back towards my thoughtful self. Not saying that thoughtful is good, like literally just thoughtful, like, because I did not think before that. It was just very much, I don't know. Again, probably another topic for another day. Long story short is, yeah, I realized I hate these Sonys that I have. I don't know why. They're technically perfect, great for run and gun gigs, amazing autofocus. Like, what is this? It's not focusing, but whatever, you know is good. I don't know. It's just, I think they're perfect for gigs, but I don't think they're very fun to shoot with. I don't particularly love the image I get out of them. And there's something about fighting against a very manual experience like the Blackmagic Pocket 4K that is great, and I miss it. So I might be selling everything, and for various other reasons as well. I really need to downsize, but that's in the future. And it was just felt like I needed to upload something. I've been feeling creatively dead, and that has not been good for just me and my personality and my happiness and all that stuff. So just, again, uploading something. Hope you are safe, especially if you're in Abbotsford, the city I live in. We had very bad flood. But yeah, I hope you are safe regardless, and hope you are well. So have a wonderful day.